Good evening, everyone, and once again, I'm your host, Doug Lindauer, on my own personal channel to do Notes to Strike a Chord live. And today, the topic under discussion, as it says down in the old title bar, is I'm taking a look at gear, specifically name gear, and I'm going to be going through several different packs over the next couple of weeks as we build up to Sharn. And as we're preparing to go into Sharn, we need to know what's still hot and what's not. What old classic gear can still stand the test of time, and what needs a revamp, something they can work on over the summer. My coffee, without which I am a rather dour boy. Got the Commodore shirt on tonight. Commodore 64 is where it all started for me. And with that, well, let's get into some gear, and we're going to start off with Tangleroot Gorge. Now, I know I'm in Ataraxia. I'm just running around just so you guys have something to watch while I prattle on about everything. Yeah, it's usually just easy content, and I got to get some XP on my TR guy. But while I'm doing that, let's talk about the gear. Hey, Hibernum. Hi, Frogonaut. Thank you. Let's talk about the gear. And in Tangleroot Gorge, we just go down the list, and we're going to start off with the black wolfskin belt. Now, the problem I have with Tangleroot Gorge and a lot of the older packs is it's like, this would all have been great gear for doing the pack. But you're moving on. And so you get this wonderful level 5 gear, but you're done at level 7. You need level 7 gear. So how can we make it better? How can we, this needs to be move along gear, not wish I had it gear. And the black wolfskin belt starts off with a Con 3 effect and a yellow augment slot. Well, how can we make this better? Well, obviously we make it minimum level 7 and we make it Con plus 4. That's just the first step. That's just like totally logical. We can leave the yellow slot alone because, in all honesty, lower level slots are, I mean, at level 8, if you want to, you can throw in a death block. That's probably the best bet for that. But most name gear now has 4 effects. I mean, look at Ravenloft. It's so awesome. It's got all those effects, even at lower levels. So what could we do? Well, why don't we give it a set bonus? Why don't we create a new set called the Dargul set? That's what I would recommend. Dargul set. And you know what's been lacking in recent years with gear? Clickies. We need clickies. So I would give it a, what do you call it? Caster level 4 summon wolf spell. Give you a creature companion. I don't care if it's +1 per rest, or ×1 per rest, or ×3 per rest. But, I would really love to see clickies make a comeback in this game. We need more clickies. And, it's got the whole theme. Wolf skin. Come on, give us a wolf. Just leave it at a wolf if you have to. I mean, not even the multi-selector if that's not even a problem. So then you get +4 con, a yellow augment slot, the Dargul set bonus. We'll get to that in a little bit. And a wolf clicky. I would love that. Totally grind that out. But that's not the only black wolfskin item out in Tangleroot Gorge. No, there's also the black wolfskin cloak. Now, I've never really had a reason to use this. I mean, it's a pretty simple item. You get a green augment slot that comes auto-slotted with a resistance +2, and a yellow slot that comes preloaded with a cold +10 item. Well, obviously we can fill this with the Dargul set. We need items in the Dargul set. This is definitely thematic with it. But how can we make it better? Well, the green slot we really can't do much about. The resist +2, between 5 and 7, that's really not going to make a big difference. Yeah, we might be able to make it to 3, but in all honesty, I think that's a bit too powerful. That, and I think then there's also the thing about going from 4 to 8 with resistance augment too. While I'm not the biggest fan of preloaded augments, we're going to try to change as little as possible. So what would I add to it? Well, we would make the yellow 10 to a yellow 15. I'm sorry, cold 15. We need more protections at low level like that, as our protection clickies have pretty much gone to buy. I think you can still get one in Shanakor, but that's only 50 true resist, and I think it's even 1 a res, so not too keen on that. So let's bump cold up to 15. Let's add the Darghoul set. And then finally, we're going to add another effect, and we're going to go ahead and add Fire 15 to that as well. We're going to make it a flat Fire 15 and not a augment, because what would be the point? I mean, well, it's already got 2 augments anyway. And as anybody knows, has gone through Tangleroot Gorge and the Splinter Skull quest, fire's a little bit more important than coal. I know we're building this on, but your next stop is Sardask Isle. And oh my god, do you need fire? Oh lord. I mean, between high cultists throwing fire, and troll shamans, and fire reavers, and mephits. I mean, with the mephits, you'd almost probably be better off going electricity instead of cold, but we're trying to, you know, we're also trying to respect the original designer's ideas. I mean, just because the game has passed them by doesn't mean we have to go take a big dump on them. Alright, let's move on to the next item, which is something I can't read because I've got a bend. It's the Blade Master Bracers. Now, I'll admit, the Blade Master stuff is pretty good, even if it puts certain stat items in odd places. But that gives you flexibility for when you find gear. So once again, what we're going to do is it comes with Dex 3 as an effect, and we're going to pump that up to Dex 4 because we're making a minimum level 7. And it comes with a yellow augment slot, which is pretty standard. I was tempted to say throw a green on it, but I think that might be a little bit too powerful for good old Tangleroot. Certainly would build interest in it, though. Think of the bishop. Of course, it's going to be part of my Darghoul set, which we will talk about. Trust me, gotta get on. What would I add, though, for its 4th effect? Well, one thing that really comes up, I mean, you're going to meet your first Skaro or two, and the Troll Shamans like to cast certain things, so I was going to give it Resist Poison 4. I think that's a good effect, and, you know, if you have something really strong, like, you know, a stat bonus, and you've got an augment slot, it doesn't hurt to shore up something that people don't normally take. Like, you know, resist poison. And usually at this time, you know, we start fighting some drow that like poison, like in Stromwald's Mine. So, and certainly the Scorpions thing. It just seemed like a natural progression after we leave Tangleroot Gorge to start preparing ourselves for some attacks that are not just pure elemental attacks. That's a good cup of coffee. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is, of course, the Blade Master Gauntlets. And this is going to complete our Blade Master set. Now, it comes with Strength 3, and I know you know what's coming. We're going to bump that to 4. And it's got a yellow slot. And if I was going to put a green slot on anything, I think it would be the Bracers, because so many people are going to be using charged gauntlets here anyway. You kind of want to give them an incentive or to reward people who are not using charged gauntlets here. So I have just a yellow slot, but if I was going to put a green on any item, this would be the item. It should help complete the Darghoul set, certainly. And then what's our bonus effect? What are we going to add to this? And once again, we're looking at one of the places where you may go using this gear. I know this is a little high. This is a little 9. And maybe we'll be talking more about this in the Sarda set. But I feel that more people are, even if we revamp all the items, more people are going to want Tangleroot than they're going to want Sardusk. Everybody knows about the great thing from Tangleroot, the one thing that stays with us, and we'll get to that in later. But, you know, we just have to realize that this could be a core grind set. So, in addition to the Strength +4, Yellow Augment slot in the Darghoul set, I would recommend Disease Resistance +4. Because we are going to start facing a lot of things that are going to try to cast diseases on us. Between level 7 and 9, and even as you're making your first steps, maybe into Menic Terran, disease is going to be a bit of a problem. I didn't get the Rust Monster. I just think it would make a very strong combined set. And that's kind of the goal, because in all honesty, when you look at the old set, especially here in Tangleroot Gorge, this definitely looks like it was meant for, you know, TR gear building in the early days. I mean, +5 pure stat items, especially for melees coming out of this chain at level 5, they were really, really good in the early days. And they just need a little bit of dusting off, I think. Now, I don't think the quest pack is good enough to throw insightful stuff on all of this, but all right, let's move on to the next item on the list, and that is the Crimson Gemstone. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you guys here. I have never, never used a Crimson Gemstone in my life. I know a couple people have used them in their first lives just to get a little bit of a little bit more spell points. But usually, you know, you pick up a Pearl of Power 8 by now and whatnot. It's just not good. All right, it comes with Wisdom 2, or I'm sorry, Wizardry 2, which is 50 spell points. Which is better than its power counterpart, but I think we can do better. I think we can... Well, I think we need to add something to it. And it's got a colorless augment slot, which is kind of humdrum, but you can slot a Pearl of Power in it. I know they won't stack, but you know, if you really need to just need that slot filled. Hey, Pandora 2315, thank you for what do you call it? Not subscribing, following, and I really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Anyway, getting back to the Crimson Gemstone, I'm leaving it at Wizardry 2, but what I think we need, like I said earlier, we're going to need clickies. Darghoul. Demetrius sent you? Well, I'll have to thank Demetrius later when I see him. Darghoul are the hobos in Tangleroot Gorge. A Varghoul thing. I am talking to everybody. This is a chat show. I'm just running around Ataraxia's Haven, so you're just not watching me, and you can watch a little bit of the game. But what I'm doing is every week I'm going to go over a different topic inside of DDO on Wednesdays. I usually play on Saturday over on Bard Live, and I hope to do more just play streams too. But I wanted to do a talk show, and right now I'm talking about named items in Tangleroot Gorge that could be made better, because when you're done, you're ready for like 7 to 9 content. With all the items you get are +5. And what about the first lifer who needs gear? They're always a little behind. So that's what I'm talking about. And what I would do to add to the Crimson Gemstone here is, like I said, we need more clickies. And the clicky I would add here is a 40 spell point charge Memnonic Aid. So you click it 3 times per rest, and you get 40 spell points back. Because, like I said, we just don't have enough. We just don't have enough clickies anymore. You can't find these anymore. I think it's. I don't know. I always thought the clickies were a neat part of the game, and I'd like to see them come back. All right, let's take a look at the next item, which are the fanged wraps, and this is going to be hard. I prepare for a long chat here, guys, because the fanged wraps are perfectly fine. They are a-okay. There's nothing wrong with them, guys. The fanged wraps actually are a really nice set of hand wraps sitting right there. I think at level 6. Yeah, there's really nothing I can. There's nothing I can bring to the table here on that, guys. Throw a little level 4 or level 8 augment in it for a little bit more elemental damage, and you are good to go. I have to admit, most of the hand wraps inside of DDO, with the sole exception of the adamantine knuckles, which makes absolutely 0 sense, are really good. Yeah, the adamantine knuckles are dumb. Ugh. Sorry, if I think about it too hard, I break my brain. So, if you need a good start of starting hand wraps and you're a monk, go out to Tangleroot Gorge, pick yourself up some fanged wraps, and you know, they're not quite as good as Devotion and whatnot, but those are level 8. These are level 4, level 6, and they'll suit you just fine. I was surprised sometimes I'd go through these, and that's why the title's the way it is. I was surprised how good some of this early gear really still is. I mean, it's not the best, but it can see you through. All right, let's talk about the Fist of Dargul. I don't even remember what it is. What is the Fist of Dargul? It's a weapon. It's got +3, and it's got Lesser Goblin Bane on it. Intim 7, red augment slot, and no other effects. Are they usable by an Iron Defender? If you turn them into a collar, yeah, it'd be just fine. So if you've got a nice little level 6 Artificer with a good dog, get him. Turn him into a. We'll go ahead and get Arboth here. Now, what can we do with the Fist of Dargul? First off, we're not changing the +3. I don't think +3 switches between level 5 and 7 anyway. But we would turn the Lesser Goblinoid Bane into regular Goblinoid Bane. Let's go ahead and give you the full 1d6. You know, let's not be chintzy anymore. When we look at modern weapons, especially in crafting, the steps are always a full d6, and we don't need to be chintzy with our Bane anymore. That 1d4 things for the bird. The 1d4, 1d6, 2d6 things just for the birds. We'll bump the intimidation from 7 to 10, because we are going from level 5 to level 7, and there is a step there, so. Let's go ahead and give you +10 intim. For those of you who like the intim, I'm pretty sure the Fist of Dargul now is a club. I don't think it's a great club, but I'm pretty sure it's a club. And since it is a club, that's probably why I wrote down we need to give it impact. Let's give you a little bit of crit range. You know, I don't want to give it straight damage, because, you know, that's kind of a crafting thing, you know? But we can give it crit range, and we can put impact on it, you know, rather than keen, obviously, because it's a blunt weapon. And I think that would, you know, that would certainly attract a certain crowd that do build for crit range. Although being a club, I don't know how much interest it'll ever get. Alright, next up we have Krug's Spiked Boots. And I think this might be the final piece of the Dargul puzzle. I don't know. Anyway, it comes with Striding 10 and a blue augment slot. And in all honesty, and of course in the modern game, that's nothing. It's a blue augment slot. Striding 10's not even particularly good at 5 anymore. So what are we going to do? We're going to bump it up to speed 3. That way you get some attack. You get 15 run and I think it's 7 attack speed. Speed 3. No, I think it goes by steps. It's just a little bit of attack speed, but at least it's attack speed 2. You know, we need to give. You know, we need to progress along our attack speed curve. I don't know if speed is an effect they still program for anymore, but I haven't really seen anything replace it either. And it's in a named item. They've got it in there somewhere because a lot of old items have exactly that. So Striding 10 becomes speed 3, and we're going to keep the blue augment slot since they're really not the greatest item. We're going to add to the Dargul set. And then because single weapon fighting happened, what I'd like to add here as a 4th effect is balance plus 7. Not 10, but 7. I just want to give people a little balance. I think these would be really favored by people who do single weapon fighting. You'll help keep them on their feet. You'll have, you know, even if they just take enough balance to get to single weapon fighting max. It'll give them 14 balance, and that's not too bad. Certainly not level 7. We still haven't gotten to the part where we're going to find a lot. We have some trippy characters like Habos still, but we don't really have a lot of like things that cast grease or nothing. Except your fellow players, of course. Alright, next we have Lord Tragu's Shadowed Armor. And I thought that was perfectly fine. It's not particularly great armor at that level, but it's certainly perfectly serviceable. As is the Spider Silk Robe. When I went back, I was actually really quite pleasantly surprised exactly how decent for, and I'm focusing mainly on a First Lifer, but how decently serviceable those would be. You know, sometimes you forget. You know, you got the wowie zowie armors at the very top where you crafted. And I do tend to favor the Ironweave tunic over all else because I like DR. I love DR during heroic levels, but there's nothing wrong with the Shadowed Armor or the Spider Silk Robe. Except for maybe the looks. I think Lord Tragu's Shadowed Armor is steel curious, and the Spider Silk Robe is certainly nothing really to write home about. I don't think. I'm sure there are people who love it. I mean, they're not hideous. They're just not my style. Then comes the Splinter Skull Ring, and really it's only got really one effect. And it's +2 to Necromancy, or +2. That was done. +42 to Necromancy, and that would bump that up to 54. It's got other effects, but that was the only effect that I thought needed to be changing. Everything else on it is good. I think it did have like 4 full effects already. So it was a cut above the rest of the stuff that's out there. Next up we have a Splinter Skull Docent. The armor out here is fine, guys. I mean, if you showed up in Tango Root armor ready to do Church of the Cult or Sorrow Dusk Isle, I'd be happy to have you. Oh, everybody wants to kill me. So next we have the visor of the flesh renderer guards. Oh god, tampering with this is so fraught with danger. Um, it already is one of the most highly sought out pieces of equipment in the game, just because it's a level 7 death ward clicking. And of course, in the hands of an artificer, that gets really super powerful. And for everybody else, it's darn useful. It's not exclusive. So you can carry as many as you want. And I know people who carry tons. I've never seen a Dwarger scout here. Huh. So the only thing it is a death ward clicking. So can we really at level 7, even bumping it up to level 7, can we justify adding anything to it? And I think we can, because we are taking away the level 5 death ward clicky and moving it up to 7. And there are a couple of things that start to get you. So what's your reward for waiting 2 more levels? Blindness immunity. Because it's flesh renderer guards, a visor, they need to protect themselves. I would add blindness immunity to the visor if we bump it up to level 7. There's a strong case, though, to leave it at level 5 for maximum use by everybody, though. Sorry, caster level 7 item. Read it. You get 7 out of 7 minutes. So, if we actually make you pay the 2 levels to stay there, then I think we should give you something back. And it should be good, but it should fit in with the theme of all the Tangleroot Gorge stuff, which is to prepare you for level 7 and level 9 as you move up to Stardust Isle. And since there's a lot of blindness being cast in, say, Church of the Cult, I thought that would be the best thing to add to it. I have missed 3 things. Well, 2 things. I already knew about this. I'll bet you I didn't run down to the bottom of that. I wonder what I missed. Let's find out. Shadows run from themselves. Scrounger's Canyon. Oh, I missed going underneath the arch. Lol me. It's been a while since I've done an explorer circuit out here. I'll pick that up right quick. Okay, so do we have anything else? Hold on, I kill this guy. The Splinter Skull Docent and the War Master Half-Blade are just fine. Oh, we get down to the weapons. Most of these people out here had really names that are loaded down on the bottom of the alphabet. And so this is where all the weapons ended up at. And so we have Whisperdoom's Fang, which is a dagger, and it's +3 enfeebling with a red augment slot. And in all honesty, the more I thought about that at that level, I didn't think it was that bad. But it doesn't stand up, but I don't want it to be too powerful either. But it is Whisperdoom's Fang, so let's add a damage effect. Let's add Poison 3. So it will be not too useful when you finally get over to Haywire Foundry. Well, and the drow will be resistant to it when you go rescue Vale, but everybody else should have a fine old time croaking to it, I would think. I don't know. A +3 enfeebling dagger, poison 3, red augment slot. I don't know. To me, it sounds good. I would certainly, if I hadn't been up on my crafting, I certainly would have a good old time with it. Of course, you can do better with crafting, but not everyone can craft. Not everyone's got the time, and a first lifer's not going to. Even if they keep up with it, it's pretty easy to scale out of where you're at. You need crafting level, I think, 125 just for 2 effect weapons. I think it's 125. It might be 150. You need 100 at least to make a weapon of that level. Oh, no, I do not want to. Sorry about that, guys. It's my thingy. No. How many times do I have to tell you? No! I don't do PE. Obviously not. Does that mean I am dead? All right. So we're going to be adding a little bit of something to every weapon out here. And the next one is Yarkuch's Greatsword. And the thing about Yarkuch's Greatsword, it's a +3 Elfbane. And I don't really think that's enough. I have kind of a problem with a lot of the Bane weapons because, it's really only good against one thing. And, Drow and Elves. I mean, we'll be fighting a lot of them, but just Drow and Elves. And maybe you didn't take the quick draw feat, so it takes you a second to switch weapons in the middle of a fight. So why don't we add a little permanent damage to it, something that's good against everything. And I'm going to recommend slashing 2. I would go all the way up to slashing 3 if it was level 9. But giving you a permanent slashing 2d6 damage, as opposed to, say, maybe the effect that only happens on critical hit. I just think it's a better idea. We're almost done. And our next item is Yarkuch's Helm. Now, Yarkuch's Helm is odd. It was back for the idea where if you were at level, a level, the total effect counted. So a +2 stat was +2, but if you're going to have 2 different stats, you have to split it up. That's not a thing anymore, guys. So Yarkuch's Helm has totally aged badly. It is Charisma +1, Int +1, Will +2. And that's almost Korthos Island gear. Come on, that's garbage. So what would I do to it? Well, I would give you a lot more. I would obviously give you bump those all up to level 3. +3 Charisma, +3 Int, and then +4 Will save to your Will saves. It also needs a little bit more. And I would add a colorless augment slot. I don't want to add. I really do think that it is at that point really powerful. So if I'm going to put an augment slot on it, I would not want to give you yellow or blue. Colorless. I could see colorless. I mean, if I got an item that was +3 to 2 stats and a will save boost and a save boost, I would be pretty happy. So getting a colorless augment slot would just mean that I could use augments to enhance its flexibility, and I think that would be a good idea. I would be enthused to get that. Next we have Zolkash's Bone Necklace, and it has Nullification 42 and a yellow augment slot. Pre-slotted with an int 2 augment. Now we really can't do much about that int 2 augment. We're building for level 7. Making it an int 3 augment would make it 8. So we'll leave it alone. I'm sorry, I got a yawn again. What I would then do is, of course, bump nullification up to 54 from 42. We cannot be lagging behind. If we're going to be at level 7, let's get you level 7 stats. I don't know. What else to do? Stardust. Stardust would be fun. Let's go out to Stardust for a little bit of killings. Right, yeah, I've already done Stardust Guile, but we'll just go kill out there. But we need to add something for this, since it is nullification. What I would add is a +1 to all necromancy spells difficulty checks. Give you a necro DC +1. I know a couple of people who go on the TR train who like their Pale Masters who might stop to get that item. Days remember. All right, well, that's all the items. This is a part, of course, where I highly encourage the audience to speak up. And if you have any questions, anything... Oh, we got to do the Dargul set. Where did I put the Dargul set? I thought I had planned that out. Maybe I didn't. Bet you are blessed and... No, I didn't. What would you want to see in the Dargul set, then? 3, 4, and 5 items. +3, what would you get? +4, what would you get? +5, what would you get? What would you like to see? Give you guys a moment to think about that while I go out to Stardust Isle. Oh, I'm still not even done with Stardust Isle. I'm 11, I should be doing 9s. There is rushing over me with desire. Try to think of thematically about Tango Root Gorge. Well, you go in and you rescue prisoners, so maybe... Oh. Okay, so 3 items, maybe DR Bishik. We could do a Bishik thing, that's what we could do. We could do a DR Bishik, say 2, 3. That would be good. That's a good idea, Fargonaut. I was thinking of, like, well, these are going to be on the set bonus too, so we could do a DR Bishik, +2 damage to Aberration. Look at that. Let's write this down. Okay, so with the help of Fargonaut here, we've got +2 to... So let's write this down. All right, so +3 items, or 3 items. We get DR /2 Bishik. And 4 items. +2 to aberrations. And we are coming up to aberrations. He's got a good point. All the way to 11, we've got quite a few things that have aberrations. We have the Zoriat Cipher. We have Jungle of Kyber. We have a quest in House Kandaric, where you go into the ruins. Caverns of Koromar. There it is. Got it. So yeah, we need some aberration veins. So what's our big one? What's our splash? What's all 5 items? What do you get? I like your ideas better. All I can come up with now is maybe blurry. I don't know. What does Bishop do? Summon a horde. I think that would be a little hard to get into a item set. I don't think they can do item set clickies. It would be nice to summon like a level 11 wolf at level 7 though. That would be pretty cool, but I think that would be a little much. I don't know exactly what Bishik or Bishik does, so I didn't get him. So I don't want to give out and out like displacement, but I'm thinking, yeah, level 7, 5 items and getting blurry would be super nice. Are Zoriat creatures Bishik too? Is that their DR? Well, I don't like the Dalkier, so that's cool. I mean, they're really great villains, don't get me wrong. I love the Dalkier so far much more than some of their minions. I don't like Yalthun, but I love the Lord of Eyes and Lord of Stone. I guess there could be some way to do that because the sets are kind of like you would be using the same kind of a thing as the filigree. Maybe they could even kind of merge those so they can do more sets. So +5 DR breaker, Zoriat DR breakers. That sounds pretty good. I could go for that. And then you know, even though they'd be starting to time out by the time you head into invaders, you know, that kind of be like their last hurrah. Is all like, I'm going to use my Dargul set one more time, go into invaders, and kick their butts. Because Lord knows, I remember being a First Life with a First Life group going into invaders, like with a First Life tune using First Life found gear and getting our butts whipped. Oh Lord, did we got whipped. Wasn't even funny. Same thing with Jungle of Kyber. What do we need Death Block for? Pew! Oh. That's what we needed it for. Because now we're all dead. We're Beholder Chow. Yeah, they don't really have visuals for like bracers and whatnot. That would be really fun to do, but I'm pretty sure it would be very, very hard to implement at this point. But maybe they could tweak the visuals on the armors to make it look like That it make a dark one of them like really a dark woolly thing and with purple metal and whatnot. I'd recommend the half plate, I think. Let me check that real quick. Sorry about the yawning. Well, yeah, Lord Trigue's Shadowed Armor. That probably would be a good one right there. The Lord Trigue's Shadowed Armor. Where's the other armor? I know there's another one. Did I miss it? There's one of these papers sticky. No, I thought there was one more. Yeah, then I would do Lord Trigue's Shadowed Armor. That would be pretty cool because, you know, he's your buddy until he gets mind wiped by Yarkulch. Alright, so we're going to write that down. So with the help of the audience, specifically Fargonaut. Sorry, I mangle that word often. I actually got the SP sound up, but then I went right to the F. We are going to go with Zoria Bishik, DR Break. Yeah, I think that would be a fun set. Wouldn't you want to use that for a couple of levels every life? I know I would. Especially if I was on a brand new server and couldn't craft. I could grind that all out with a level 15, whatchamacallit, Iconic. Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, I know they don't usually go back and redo art, but you're right. If it would thematically fit, I would not mind seeing the art redone for these weapons, especially because people back interested in some of the older packs. Because, in all honesty, I mean the feeling that if they're not going to go back and bring the older packs into line, and I'm not talking about like full revamps or whatnot, I'm just talking about basically even just doing the gear. Oh, I'm not going to go that far. And besides which, if I was going to do that, I would tie them to the Madness Chains where we were actually dealing with the Dalkier. You know, we're a little behind the Dalkier in the scheme of things. The Dalkier don't start appearing until 15. Now you want to talk about the Madness Chain. Now I'm wondering what we're going to see about... I mean, right now, obviously, they're busy with Sharn, and this is just pie in the sky dreaming, but whenever I come into one of these older chains, I look at the gear and I think, well, nah. And sometimes I take a look at, like, I really didn't expect, I thought, the wraps to be as good as they were. And definitely for the level, I can't remember if there's 5 or 6 or whatnot. They're pretty good. I don't really think tieflings either, but I know tieflings. I don't think tieflings are going to be as big in Sharn. Or I hope they're not going to be the big thing in Sharn, because what I'd like to see them is just go back and redo the tieflings everywhere else. And then Sharn be thematically more Sharny. I want political intrigue among the races that live there. And that does include the Goblinoids because, you know, there's a big gang of them there. I went over that in my Sharn streams, which you can find over at cavaliercavalry.com. Did I make the wrong turn? Okay, came in here. Okay, there it is. Never mind. Just gonna figure out which one it was. But yeah, when I think of Sharn, I think of all the races mixing around and intrigue and political machinations. And if I'm thinking of a true big bad, I mean, really, we started to get a little bit of it when the game went free to play, when we got the core, you know, the quarry quests. But then kind of didn't go anywhere. I mean, the Dreaming Dark ended with that fight, and that was kind of it. I'm kind of a little disappointed in that. I mean, it is what it is, but. Oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I really, the one thing I was reading is like the Illithids have got their creepy little tentacles in everything, and you know, we did have an appearance of Fred inside the Age of Rage, so you know, we've got to have, you know, the Illithid on our side. Two Illithids I can think of, the one from Chronoscope too. That would be nice to see. Well, we didn't get Furley either. But you know, like I said, the only thing I can think of, if they're not going to bring the older packs into line to encourage people to go back and into them and new players to buy them. I mean, when you go on the forums, there's a whole series of thread. What's the absolutely last pack you should buy? What's the worst of the worst? Usually the big leader there is Saurodusk Isle. And which is surprising because Saurodusk and Quest rewards are not the worst. They're not great, but if they're not going to update the gear, and they did update the gear a little bit in Saurodusk Isle, it didn't really help that the gear really kind of is more specialty items than anything else. Well, you should have packs like that too, kind of niche little tidbits. But, you know, it goes back to the old idea I had where they need to have rotating packs. So every time they bring in a new pay-to-play pack, they retire one and make it free to play. I would start with Saurodusk and move on to Catacombs. Catacombs is tricky because it still is tied to the starter pack, but I don't even know if they're selling that anymore. It's a pretty good deal, 250 DDO points, a Scorpion pet, automatic premium if you're free to play. What am I going up here for? I'm not doing Explore. What else did you get? You also got something else. Oh, and the level 3 perma hire. I thought that was a pretty good deal for $10, and it used to go on sale for $250 during Black Fridays, but they don't seem to be doing that anymore. I know this year they did Ravenloft at 75% off, and then they had a 50% off sale later or early in the year for Menace and the Shadowfell Conspiracy. You know, as soon as I go through more of the, or through some of the weapons or the packs and their end rewards, we know we've got to recover that. This is my favorite topic. So we've got a plan on how to fix Tangleroot Gorge. Now, in all honesty, Tangleroot Gorge is still one of the more fun packs to play. I know some people don't like it because it's, you know, go in and everything, but it really feels like it's a staged assault where you feel the as you go in, the defenses get weaker, but as they're getting pushed back, the later fights get stronger and stronger. I really am impressed with whoever designed Tangleroot Gorge. It's still one of my favorites. I don't get that feel out of Sorrow Dusk no matter how many times I play it. Sorrow Dusk Isle seems like, okay, it's 10 quests that are over too far of a level range that never seem to get any harder or easier, or they're just quests. Okay, I was gonna say, did I miss somebody? I'm sorry, Sardusk Isle is... It's not bad, but it's just... It doesn't hold my attention. Alright, well, it has been an hour since I went live, so I will take any last questions. And if I don't have any, I am going to wrap up tonight's stream. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Fargonaut. Let's allow that. Yeah, I thought that because you left the A out that you were trying to say a naughty word. It depends on what die she used. It might start out brown, but in this game, Lord only knows what it'll end up. I just won a Thunder Seafoam green in my daily dice roll the other day. I was really impressed. But it's over on Thelanis, so not so good. I would have rather had it on Kyber or Argo. Bullion? Who says Bullions can't have hair? I'm sure in the Star Trek time they could certainly give her a nice wig. Got a lot of junk. I'm not crafting this, constructing these because they're all level 10. It's too low for me. I'd rather have the money. It's always like my favorite math question. If a train leaves Chicago heading toward LA at 63 miles an hour at 9:52 p.m. and another train leaves LA heading for Chicago at 8:53 p.m. doing 49 miles an hour, and there's a 65 east to west mile per hour headwind, what color is my tie? Now the answer to my tie question is always copper. I only have one tie. It's a copper. I would also accept dark gold. Hey Demetrius, hey, thanks for sending me the viewer. I appreciate that. I don't know if your friend's still here. I don't see him on the list, but you know, hey. Now, for those of you who are still staying here at the end, I would like to remind everybody that I was let go at the end of last year and didn't pick up a new job for 7 weeks. And we're trying to save up money for lots of different things. And anything that you could donate would help. You can hit those buttons down on the bottom. And we're trying to save up for both a 2 Sharn packs, one for me and one for my wife, so we can continue bringing this. And admittedly, we're probably going to be able to buy them on our own. But like I said, you know, any way you could help us would be appreciated. And I am trying to get one of those Elgato stream decks, just to make the stream better for all of you. So anything, you know, I gotta do this. Anything you can do to help. And that's the limit of my begging now. I'd like to thank everybody, especially Demetrius for the viewer and Fargonaut for the chat and the ideas. I wrote them down, Fargonaut. Yeah, I've already gone back to work. It just, you know, it just decimated my savings being out of work for 7 weeks. You know, that was bad, but I'm surprised. My sister works at the new school district I'm working at, and so she's been making sure everybody all like, no, get my brother. I can get him. You know. So she's been looking out for me, and I do appreciate that too. And like I said, we might be fine, but you know, it's also going to be a pretty lean summer, so any help would be fine. Once again, thanking Demetrius, thanking Fargonaut, thanking everybody, even if you just lurked. Well, no, these are mainly notes for my show, you know, because, you know, I figured, you know, during Bard Life, I like to show off the game and play the game and toe the company line. Here on my own channel, I can, you know, I can say, hey, devs, this is what we want, you know, and maybe I'm a little bit more critical. I can sit here and say things like, Sourdusk Isle doesn't interest me. How could you make it better? Tangleroot Gorge's gear is more than a little behind the times. How can we make it better? And most of the gear is kind of okay. There is only one item we covered tonight that was just, I hate to use this word, but it's the only word that fits. It's garbage. And that's Yarkulch's helm. And it's so out of date. You almost feel insulted getting the 5 XP feeding it to your sentient weapon. You expect it to barf it back up. I'm like, what are you giving me this for? And once again, I'd like to thank everybody who has a part, plays, contributes, anything to DDO. Yeah, I try to be upbeat about it. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to complain and whine and what. That's not my style. And if it's never implemented, so be it. I'm not going to sit here and like, well, I didn't use my idea. It's not my thing. But we're allowed to dream. What would I do if I was Severlin? Actually, the thing I would like better, Demetrius, I don't mind the number of quests. I would like to see the level range compacted. It's 6 to 10 now. If all the quests were scaled so that you did them 8 to 9. All 10, 8 to 9. That way, you're almost done with level 8 and you want to roll into level 9. You could just go to Sourdusk to finish off level 8 and boom, right into level 9. Right now, 6 to 10, it's either miss out on some bravery bonus or do some quests, come back, leave, come back. The first one could be combined. You've got a good point. The second two, I can see it either way. But I still think the biggest knock on the thing is 6 to 10 level range. 8 and 9. Let's make it 8 to 9. I know that take away all of 2 level 6 quests. We just got a bunch of them. Losing 2 level 7 quests hurt more. Maybe level 7 to 8. I don't know. Level 7 to 8 would still work, because then you'd run it right after Tangleroot. I don't know. It just feels better 8 to 9. I don't know why. I just get a warm fuzzy thinking 8 to 9. It means you have to change would have to change the level range of the Explorer area, I guess. Well, see, that's why I like talking to you guys, because, you know, we can hash this out and we can do it politely, and, you know, maybe Cordo goes back and looks at the video. He's kind of fond of some of my videos. Maybe brings it up at a staff meeting and doesn't tell me, and that's fine. All these, there's my disclaimer. Any idea I come up with, I give Standing Stone Games the right to use without crediting me or owing me any royalties or anything. So I do swear by the naked stars. If I hadn't wanted said it, I wouldn't have said it. I'd rather see these things implemented and worry about that. And, you know, if they want to do something nice for me, I certainly wouldn't complain. Oh, it's something that John Ford made the Klingons say. Go read the final reflection. It's awesome. Demetrius, you sound like my brother from another mother. I always find a way to make my... I love going into Stardust with a hireling with 1 minute left on it and then doing the whole chain. Like, oh, you thought you had 1 little minute left to work with me. Ha 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 ha. You're going to be here for the next 2 hours. I'm getting my money out of you. It's usually Samuel Merrick, too. And he's not that great of a hireling, so I want my money out of him. Like, if you're going to be a crummy hireling, you're gonna make me get my money back. You're gonna work for 2 hours and not just 1. All right, guys, I do have to go to work tomorrow, so I think we'll wrap this up for tonight. Let's go ahead and use the end of stream button. There we go. I gotta get backdrops for Lotro, but we're back here in the concert hall, and I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. I love having the questions. I love having the interaction. Remember, if you want to talk directly to me, you can get on the Discord. It was down there. I don't have it up now. I remember all the hirelings I use, Fargonaut. I do. Larry Thistledown, Byron Scout Sword, Flower, Marissa Lorme, Samuel Merrick, Durham Gardwell, 10-Piece Lauren, Haystack Iron Horse, Albus Gladwin, and Garrett the Sainted. I also remember that some of the hirelings I don't. I am never using Motrin. It's like Mullen, but I call him Motrin because he's a headache and you want some Motrin. And Wyo, who you go, why did I pick this hireling? Anyway, follow me on Twitter at the Cat Alice Thing. You can follow me on Facebook at /Glyn's Arcade. You're already here, so you know to follow me at twitch.tv/Doug Lindauer. And you can see all my old stuff over at cavalrycavalry.com, including the original machinima versions of Notes to Strike a Chord. Go back there and watch them. I thought they were actually pretty cute. I ended it with a dance, with the dance off, which race had the best dance. So go over there and watch those. And the Sharn streams are over there too. We're getting close to Sharn. I covered all. I went through the source books of Sharn, and they're all. You can find the links to the YouTube videos over at cavalrycavalry.com, and of course, the forums. Gotta go to the forums. All right, guys. I wish you all peace and good questing. Have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday.